Okay, so today, as per Eileen's request, we will do some fun portrait exercises.
Yes.
This was something that I kind of invented in order uh to loosen everyone up about portraiture. It's such a scary topic most of the time, and I can understand why it is scary. But there are ways in which you can make it less scary if you understand why it is scary in the first place. So, like I was trying to explain right from the first class this month, that the scare comes from our expectation that a face that we are making needs to look exactly like the face that we are seeing. And our intention often is that we will be able to make portraits of our family, our friends, even if not professionally, even if it is just you want to do it as a project for yourself, you would like there to be some kind of resemblance. And as we begin, that resemblance is almost uh, not there. Or little by little, you start saying, okay, one feature looks like them, but everything else looks like their evil twin or something like that. So lines are not right, proportions are not right, colors go all over the place. The only reason why that is happening is the fact that one, the expectation is very high. Our eyes are very, very fine tuned to see the absolute minute details in a face. And we don't really see it consciously as much as we perceive it. So it's a matter of doing as many portraits as you can so that your eyes are able to perceive this even when you start with a blank sheet of paper. So unfortunately, the only way to do good portraiture is to keep doing lots of portraiture. And many of them can be really bad. So then you start getting disheartened and disillusioned, and you say, okay, forget it. I'm okay with just cats and dogs and flowers, and I just want to do anything else. So in order for that not to happen, and for you to be able to start seeing these features in shapes, I came up with this technique where you do the latter, but you don't have the former. Like you make the face, but you don't have an expectation. The moment you remove the expectation, making those illustrations becomes a little less daunting, and your hand starts moving a little freely. And this almost starts becoming like an experiment. It's uncharted territory. You make those lines and you put those colors, and then you look at the face and see whether you recognize a familiar aunt or your ex-boss or whatever in that. Because that is how proportions work. Even subconsciously, we can put some lines together. I could put two dots, a line, and a mouth, a line as a mouth, and in that also you'll recognize a face, an absolute person that you will see just by those basic proportions. So this exercise that we'll do today, and I'm going to try and do it some 2, 3 different ways. I want you to just move your hand freely. We look at it as just strengthening your line, and don't be too self-conscious about how the face turns out. We want to allow it to warp a little bit. The noses can be long, the eyes can be wonky, all that is going to happen. So at least in today's lesson, don't use erasers at all. And if you want to, at some point, I'm going to be bringing out my pen. We'll also do the exercise in pen. So then it becomes, you'll be surprised, it's a more relaxing exercise to use a pen directly, knowing that you have no option but just to forward ahead. There's no reverse gear in this. With a pencil, there is still some option like, oh, maybe I can do this, but it's okay, I can always erase. You're hesitant. So what we're going to do is first, is we are going to start with making one continuous line, which is going to create all the features that you want to. So you'll make a line that goes and makes a face, the shape of the face, then the nose, the eyes, the mouth, and whatever else you want to make. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. And there's no set start or end point. You may also choose to make some features differently. Like if you like how it's looking with just one eye, then don't bother with the other eye. I leave that option to you. We're not going to make them too large. We will make them just a manageable size, because then afterwards we have to paint them as well. So start off with a pencil first, and we are making the face just about this size, not like a whole size. So our line is not going to be too long. So visualize your face first. That's another thing that a lot of people don't land up doing. You'll put pencil to paper and you'll start. It's like sitting in your car and just starting on the first road that you go without looking at the map and thinking, okay, where is this road going to take me? So allow your eye to visualize a few lines, just like an oval, a line where the eyes are going to come, where the nose might come, the center, maybe the mouth will come here. You start seeing those shapes here. And then you can start with a line like this. Now, I just want everyone to watch this, because I want the line to be as firm as you can make it. So I have made the line between the nose and the eyes. And that should be it. Okay, so don't spend too much time thinking about it. Just make it and let it just do whatever it has to do. The second round will be with color, and there can be a lot of adjustments you can do with color as well. All right, give it a shot. I'll leave this in front so you can see this to get your own ideas. I'll be making another face in pen afterwards. So we have about a couple of minutes for you to draw this. Keep your hand flowing smoothly. Hold the book, sit comfortably. Don't hold your breath. Okay. Should be done by now. All right. Now the second phase, this would be too tight. So I'm moving it a little to the right, just a little over here. This time I'm going to start from the center, from inside to outside. So let's make it's like this. I'm deliberately changing the shape of the eyebrows, the eyes. Now I've drawn just one ear. I forgot that I've drawn this. I could have drawn another one, but this is what it is. So just leave it as that and let's see how this will turn out after we paint it. So already in this, I can see a couple of people that I know. This looks very close to a college friend of mine. This looks very close to somebody I do definitely know, but I can't remember her name right now. So this is constantly a case of what we see versus what we perceive. And in this case now, we are not drawing what we are perceiving. We are drawing it first, and then we are objectively seeing what we draw. And then we connect that to what we might have perceived as somebody's face without even seeing them fully. That sounded very much like that Swami Nityanand. I should have written this down. So confusing. Even I don't know what I said. Mm. The best thing or the application that you can do with these faces, I'm constantly looking for some kind of application of all our projects, because then that becomes a motivator for you to do more of it. If it is just an exercise and you can't either display it or use it in some way, I sometimes feel that I myself will not land up doing that exercise. So imagine this as a project that you make, say, take 10 faces or 12 faces or 16 faces. You know that each face is going to be unique. So you make all these different faces on small pieces of paper, like an A6 size sheet, and then just lay them all out. And once you see them after they are painted, you could probably attribute either a statement or an emotion or a quote, or they might land up looking like someone that you can pick a quote from. And you can actually make an accordion booklet where you have a portrait on one side and you can write the quote or the name of the person. And then if they are not a quotable person, you could write something about them, about their strengths, about their achievements, and make something that becomes like an art project. And a project like that, we think very little of such projects. But if there is like a bookshop or a store near your house which keeps quirky items, make this as a display for their store. It's always wonderful for people to walk into stores and find something unexpected that's not necessarily a product, where the decor also can be a little interesting. And stores obviously are going to love it because that keeps their customers engaged. So whenever you have a project like this, think of multiple ways. Even if you don't do the coat thing, if you just hang all these things from with a thread from the ceiling somewhere, even that can look like a very interesting decor idea. All right, now we're going to start painting. Now the painting of this is going to be in two layers. The first layer is just going to be throw in whatever colors you want to. You don't need to really think about the colors, and you will allow them to blend into each other the way, however they want to. The first layer in watercolor is usually so light that it doesn't matter. It just remains a nice wash. And then the second layer, we will make a few details in the face. And there we might be able to add maybe some sharper lines to the features more consciously. So the first step is to just hydrate your entire palette. So I've been using a spray bottle to hydrate my palette. If you have an old, yeah, it this is a very nice way to activate your colors without taking your brush and dropping paint in each of those cakes. And also it can work well sometimes if you want to use the spray effect on watercolor. We haven't done that yet, but at some point we'll do it. Okay, now randomize your color selection. To use the palette so you know how much color you're taking. And start adding it like as if you were a 3-year-old and you just want all sorts of colors in your palette. Where you just, in fact, sometimes I feel that kids, very young kids, look at the color more and then they just do something like that. They paint as if they want to get color out of the brush so that they can go back into the palette and get more color. Their intention is completely opposite of what we are supposed to do. So digging into the paint is more exciting for them. And they want to just get rid of the previous color on paper. And on any surface for that matter. That is why the explanation that I give myself when kids paint on walls and all, they just need something to get rid of the paint in their brush. All right, so I've left it like this. Some places, even the pencil is visible. I'm going to leave it like that. Now in the second one, I want to do something that I've not done before, where I want to paint in stripes. And again, I've not painted a face where there may not be color in one stripe at all. And the dreaded viridian green will also be used here. Oh, gross. Once you've painted this, on the rest of the paper, we are going to reverse the process. So we are first going to make patches of paint. And then after they are dry, we will be making the features on the patches of paint. Now that we know how much space we have, you can either make 4 patches like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can make 2 patches, again, one here and one here, so that the page fills in some way. So let's try doing a very predictable face, like we make the guidelines in paint. So you have some blob as the face, and then you can make some blobs as the eyes, either a vertical or a horizontal nose, and then another blob as the mouth. You will have an idea of where to put all these features. The next one, again, the same thing. You can make some weird shapes. When you're painting this, I realized that you can do one thing. Practice holding the brush really far away and painting with very light strokes. If you're holding it too close, I'm afraid that you will be tempted to make very short strokes and the brush will not flow as much. In most other paintings as well, we feel that the more control we have, the better our painting would be. So you'll end up just unconsciously holding the brush closer than it need be. So now, in this case, we don't even need to do that. So the further away you hold the brush, the more out of control it will seem. It'll look as if the tip is doing whatever it wants to do, and you're just kind of trying to not let it fall out of your hand. And that's good enough for this exercise. So I'm attempting to make the paint or this shape also in different ways. The green one, I started with just painting half the face in Viridian. Then I used a light red to make the nose and part of the face, and then finished it off with a cerulean blue. This is going to be very patchy. This fellow, I already can see is going to be a great mascot for like a Halloween illustration or something. With this blue stripe running straight across its eye, it is looking very scary. So this will work, even this one, because it looks like it's got a scar. And very cute, almost butterfly shaped lips. And I'm very tempted to make the lips in that form. All right. So once you're done with the blob faces, we can now use a medium sized brush and go ahead and paint some features in a second layer. Of course, you can make a third layer, fourth layer, fifth layer, and change the face further and further. So I'm going to just do one in which I'm not going to change the forms that I have created too much. I'm just going to enhance them a little bit so that they stand out. I'm also going to dodge some of the highlights if they're there. They're just unintended, but they're there, so I might as well make them work. I'm also trying to use slightly unexpected or unusual colors for the various features. Now, eyes is one thing that I just can't help but make them very realistic, as realistic as I can. So I will definitely create a highlight. Paint the entire eye a particular color. At this stage, the eyes look rather dead, but they can look quite intriguing for an abstract illustration. A whole page full of faces with these dead eyes should work. There's no reason why it shouldn't work. The same thing on the face below. And this time I'm changing the colors on both sides and making the face asymmetrical. I happen to have a very interesting shape around the nose. So I want to try and paint that red. And in this case now, I'm going to make the lips blue, but I'm going to change the shape of the lips and make them much smaller, paint them much smaller than I have drawn them. So I almost get, thanks to all these different colors in the red nose, I am moving to in the clown zone with this. And I really didn't have to do too much. Even the mouth is pretty clown-like, though it is blue. And we can make green eyes on this fellow. For the face on top, I'm going to make a black pupil right in the center. So in this now you can see how the blended colors are creating such a lovely effect. Some places there are natural shadows, natural highlights. We don't get this even if we want to consciously drop in paint in those places. But the unconsciously or cautionlessly done painting sometimes can show us some beautiful patterns in watercolor. So Neeta, this exercise is excellent
Yeah,
to learn how colors are behaving with each other.
yeah.
Okay, I'm not very happy with this. It's looking rather incomplete, and all these Jatak Kasata colors are driving me nuts. So I will be, let me see if I can make it more palatable for myself, but not in the predictable manner. I'm going to make more green here instead of my. I sometimes feel if I add blue to anything, it'll fix everything. But that's because my brain is so much in love with blue that I don't give the other colors a fighting chance to prove that they can also do something. Moving to this side now. Now I'm choosing to paint the opposite patches, not corresponding patches on the other side. Let's see what happens. This class is wonderful, or exercise is wonderful to do with kids. If you've got kids around, you should just try doing this. I mean, the kids are in splits when they're making these faces because they just find that whole thing just so funny that this is supposed to be a face. And then what are you going to do with this? And then you can tell them, let's make it as ridiculous as possible. And they come up with so many interesting ideas. But if you observe them, you'll see that few kids, the younger kids, have no fear, suggesting more and more ridiculous ideas. Older kids sometimes look for permission to to make ridiculous suggestions. So I had a pair of sisters who used to come for class. The younger one was maybe 6, the older one was 11. Oh no, 9. And she felt that asking permission and doing what the teacher was telling us to do is expected. But then when you don't tell them anything, she would be so lost. The younger one was just learning to do as asked. So she was new to this whole thing. And she would come up with really crazy stuff and also was freely challenging me in class that why can't I put a hat on this? I want to put a hat. Then I would ask her, do you know how to make a hat? No, I don't, but I'll just make something on his head that'll become a hat. And actually, that's right. She could just do that. And then she'll make some shape and then she'll say, you know what, I've not made a hat, but it looks like more like an aeroplane. If the older one had done it, she would say, but that's wrong because I had wanted to make a hat and now it looks like an aeroplane. Is it wrong? And she would look for approval. So in her case, I could have a conversation with her and ask her, why do you think it's wrong? What is wrong with putting an aeroplane on a person's head? So they get to examine that while in reality, certain things may be allowed, may not be allowed, which you have to please allow them to believe and follow, because otherwise we'll just have all sorts of nincompoops saying that I'm an artist, I can do whatever I want. No, you have to respect what is reality, but when you're painting, you can really throw that to the wind and enjoy everything outside of reality. with as much delight as you should enjoy everything within reality without being disappointed in either. That's a better way to keep them balanced. So when one says that putting the aeroplane, I put an aeroplane, the younger one says it's turned out to be an aeroplane. Ah ha ha, this is so funny. And then she would create a big story about it. So you know what? This guy is a giant, and that's a big plane on his head, and everybody's sitting inside and they're screaming. That's one story. And the older one would say, okay, so maybe it's an aeroplane, but maybe do people wear hats that are aeroplanes? So she's still trying to pull that into reality. So to her, I can say, yeah, maybe it's a Halloween costume or something like that, or maybe it's just one of those fancy dress parades where people wear all sorts of weird stuff, and this could be one of those weird hats. So there are multiple possibilities in which one illustration can give joy to different people at different ages, depending upon their flexibility and their creative thinking. All right, so now I think the faces on the right should have dried. My green face is still not dry. And on this one now, you can either use paint or pencil or pen and make the basic face shape. So you see the colors that you have put, and they will give you some guidelines about the nose, eyes, mouth, where they should be, just light shadows that you see. So in this case, I'm going to make these the eyebrows. Below that, I don't see any shape, so I'll just maybe make the nose, the eyes later. But first, I can see a very nice nose shape. It's not totally like a symmetrical nose, but it's there. And then I have a mouth that's slightly off center. See, here's how I'm going to do this. I have this odd shaped eyebrow. I have a nose that's like that. That's just because I'm seeing it. You may see it in your colors or not. If you don't see it, don't put it. And the mouth is somewhere over here, where I'm just using that shadow as the shadow underneath the mouth and just keeping it like this. So already this looks like some kind of um, ogre-like face because of all these weird shapes. So to this now, if I want to refine it, I can add things like these. And convert this into what might look like an old man, possibly bald. And now we have a face out of it. In this case now, I can certainly see a unibrow. Okay, let me try doing this in paint now. So I'm using a contrasting color. It just happens to be in my brush, so I don't want to change it. And also, it's got a very furrowed brow. So I'm going to give it this shape. I don't see a nose really, but I do see the mouth. So I'm going to make the mouth in a slightly lighter color, or maybe let me just take a different shade altogether and keep it a little light, not too dense. This could be the new lipstick style on the ramp. Just putting like a shape like a butterfly. Farfarelle. look like pursed lips. So because we don't have proper eye shapes, you can start off with making just a dot. And for the nose, from any one side, just make a line. This one has turned out so beautiful. I definitely want to sketch. This one I'm going to do a little more advanced because I really like how the eyes have become so dark and mysterious. And I'm not going to make the eyes at all. Oh, now I know what this is going to be.
Frankenstein's monster, is it?
Yeah. There is a
I like that round
outcome.
thing, yes, on his head.
It was right there. I had to
Yeah.
do it.
But I like the smiling. I mean, he's not scary. He is scary, but he's got a gleam on his nose, a pink
Yeah.
nose, so cute. His eyes at the moment are frightful, but yeah,
They are
double
so
dippers.
scary, I know.
Yeah.
Uh, so I hate making these kinds of faces, the ones
Yeah,
that
yeah, you can see how close to structure you're getting.
yeah,
But
that is
they're good.
part.
Yeah. Mine are all over the place. There isn't one structured line in the whole place.
But you know what? That structured line might not even look as good.
Oh
The,
gosh.
the other wobbly lines will make it more like well, more curious. So you look at it with something other than just, yeah, okay, I see this. There's a face in this. So for this one, we can do something. I'm doing something like that. Not that everyone will have the same. Once that position of the eyes is known, I can make something like that. Oops. 1 second. Let me just make this call.
How are yours going, Meeta and Sonal?
Mine are all looking monsters.
Very weird.
They're supposed to. Yeah. Look at mine.
Oh, wow.
They all have funny things because that's what they
Halloween
look
is coming,
like.
no?
Huh?
So they're all looking like Halloween masks.
Yeah, totally. How nice. Sonal is
Sonal looking
Sonal
very,
is so
very
good. Yeah. She's so good. Doesn't want to go out of that line at all.
Oh no, I
Make
was
them very
yeah.
ugly. There was one white spot left on this fat face. So I
Wow.
had to just leave it like a tooth.
Yeah. But it's looking nice. It's looking
Oh,
very
so
nice. I like that
nice.
face mask.
Crack. Yeah, that was because she said stripe, so I started the other way. Then I realized, oops, it's supposed to be lengthways. I said, never mind, let us carry on with the horizontal,
They're
the
actually looking
vertical
very
lines.
nice, Elaine. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. So are yours. You have to, what Aditi taught me last time was to let go. And
Yeah.
I think it takes 2 or 3 lessons for you to let
That's what
go.
I'm struggling with. But I actually like this face more than all the serious ones that I've tried. Randomness was helpful, even though not fully random. But
No, it helps to just isn't it strange how we don't even realize how rigid we have become. So this is one exercise where you can like in dance sometimes. I'm very rigid in dance. I can't let my body go. So when there is a workshop in some free flow dance or something like that, I just feel that the same kind of stuff that I know others feel in art, I feel that in dance, or sometimes even music. So it's for me, for dance, it is just the idea of embarrassing myself. And in this case, it's pretty much the same. You don't want to make something bad, not because it is bad, because you think it is going to be seen as bad by others. So that to just get over that itself, it takes a while. So for me, it's with dance, I realize I still haven't done it. Though now when there are a lot of people dancing, I would just go and dance. I enjoy it, but I don't do those like free flow. Give me like a proper give me a beat and give me like a samba or something, which I know there is some discipline. I know the steps, I can do it. But this whole thing like flail your arms like Osho style, I just cannot do that thing. It's very difficult for me. Then they say, okay, bring out your emotions. I don't have such like critical emotions that I need to bring out and then do all sorts of stuff. But I mean, it's just to loosen up your body, right? That's all they really intend to. So
I'm sure your daughter Sonal is creeping up because she's dying to do this. She's got her
yeah,
book and she's got her pens, and she's
yeah,
like, that's what I want to do.
yeah. She's already Right.
hi.
Come here.
Yeah, sit and do this. It's good fun. All right. So now the last phase. To this now we can also do some other fun stuff by changing the face to look to the side. Maybe what else can we do? Maybe a full figure, or let me give you one
You
exercise.
remember you had made us do this lines only, but the features all in the wrong place. Like the eyes were not where they were supposed to be, and the nose wasn't that. It was quite radical.
So just the small faces with the dots and nose.
No, my
Oh,
eyes were, one eye was here, one eye was here, the nose. Oh, it was like nothing you can want to do ever again.
oh my God, I can't remember that at all now, but maybe we can try that. Why don't you tell us
No, no,
how you
dear.
remember
No,
it?
no, no, no. I remember my face, the face I had made.
Okay. So were the eyes horizontal or vertical? Or how were
They
they?
were horizontal, but one was here,
Okay, okay.
like that, kind of
Okay.
all
So
over.
all right. So I have another similar exercise which might be fun. So this one is where we will break the face up into the proportions like we have them, but a few more. And then we are going to play around with the guidelines a little bit, and then use the absolute measurement or position of the feature in the first picture, and then according to that, make everything else. So I'll show you how that works. So this is our, oh, let me spotlight for everyone. Yeah. So this is our face. We have a central guideline through the center. Then we have a guideline through the center horizontally, which is where we draw the eyes. Then we have guidelines over here for the hairline, nose, and mouth. Right? We are also going to draw a couple of more guidelines on either side. So we almost get like a grid. This is supposed to be in the center. Now on this, we can draw our features. This is actually a lovely exercise and also drawing by the grid. Don't worry about how the face looks right now. Even if it's a slightly odd shape, that's fine. Oh, and then we have the hair. And the ears up somewhere between the eyes and the, let's put it them between the eyebrows and a little higher up on the nose. Here the nose is really low for me. All right, now you know where everything exists. Now we draw this from the grid direction. So you can make your grid first, and this is also very arbitrarily made, but you change all these lines. So suppose we give these lines numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At this point, they're all evenly placed. But what if we change, this is 1 and 5. What if we change 2 and 3 over here and put 4 and 5 over here? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we can have 1, 2. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course, this is 5. Once you have this grid, now you plot what you see onto this point. So what do we see at, say, between 1 and 2? You have a line going from 1, 2, 3, from 1, 2, 3. From here, you have a line going to this 3 like so. And then from there, it comes all the way to 3. So this is how grids are followed. And if you change the grid, obviously now all the proportions are going to change. The eye is just on line, the intersection of 2 and 3, like 2 vertical. Actually, why am I doing this? This is the worst way to do it. A, B, C, D, E. So the vertical markers are A, B, C, D, E. Horizontal markers are numbers. So the intersection between of 2 and C is where the eye comes. But remember that the eye also finishes at the space between 2 and 3 and a little above C and a little below C. That's it. Then you have the eyebrow somewhere between 2 and 3, or sorry, B and C, which is somewhere over here. And it's just this tiny. Now let's see what happens to the other eye. Oh, it's become too long. This has become this short. So it's almost like it's stretched out. Mine has become too tall, but I'm just leaving it like that. And then you have the nose here. And then you have a big mouth somewhere over here. And then you have the hair. So this completely warps your face.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Okay, let's try making one abstraction from a photograph. Why don't you all try one more face by changing some more proportions over here? And I'm going to look for a picture that we can convert into an illustration. Okay, I'm sharing a black and white picture. Sorry. I should have shared a colored picture. Okay, I'll share a colored picture as well. I'm deliberately looking for pictures which are not too, I guess, too young. All right. So here's a face. And it could very well be a charcoal illustration. I can't even tell these days. And here's another face. So you don't need to make the face look exactly like this face, but are you able to recognize certain shapes as features that we have made? So that you might be able to recreate a face that comes close to this, at least, even if it is as a scribble. Yeah, so this proportion, you'll get this. What shape you would make for the nose. And then of course we haven't made anything with mustaches, but these would work. And then at what point you will turn this around. So something like that should work. I'm going to try and do this as well. So let's see how I can make this. We can easily use the continuous line idea as well over here, but we don't need to stick to it as much. Let's start with the turban. So I'm attempting to make a face that will look like the faces in our previous images on the previous page. But it's not not a fictional face anymore. So I just want to test if you are able to see the features better now. Okay, so the other face, I think I'm going to start from the center of the face. So once you have these shapes done, you are on your way to now experiment with shading even more fine. And from this itself, your faces will emerge.
I did this, the old man, Aditi.
Huh.
So the proportions of the face aren't right. And I feel my strokes are very kind of short, no?
No, but this is much. Show me your earlier faces. Let's see if the struggle was real today or before.
Wait, you mean earlier means when I,
The first, the exercises we did in the earlier
yeah, these
part.
ones?
No, even before that. No, the one after that, the eyes and nose.
Yeah. No,
Check
the
the
eyes were
line.
and all were much better.
Ah, yes. Okay. So tell
I'm
me,
struggling here. I
huh,
think my strokes aren't very good. I don't know why.
how is your pencil? Is your pencil heavy? Is it light?
Um, I can't be a bad carpenter and blame my tools.
Well, maybe.
Normal pencil and H2B pencil.
Is it sharp enough? Are your lines sharp?
No.
So yeah, just sharpen the pencil a little.
Okay. Okay. Because you got much fewer lines, I'm sure.
Yeah. So,
During the wrinkles, I got a little carried away, but this is beautiful. This other
yeah.
one.
Yeah, don't make the wrinkles actually.
Yeah.
Not too many anyway. Many people I've noticed still continue to draw the preliminary sketch holding the pencil
Ah.
very close to the tip. And therein lies a big problem. So the exercises that we did today were meant for you to learn to hold the pencil a little further away so that you could draw a line that is more that flows more. You just don't get flow when the pencil is held too close. So once you are able to create the flow, then it's up to you to control the flow in the zones that you want. So in your case now, Elaine, if you feel that the colors on the face or the lines are too many, you could easily, again, holding the pencil far away, just give it one dark tone throughout. And that will pull the wrinkle lines in by reducing the contrast. So all that you see right now probably is the lines of the wrinkles, but maybe you don't need all as many. So they will reduce and then you can enhance the ones that you do need. So the next stage after this is to literally just shade the whole face in these layers and layers of base tones. And then finally, you can start making the details. The fun bit over here is that even say your proportions are not exact, they're all over the place. But if you focus on making the features like you see them, each of the features, they can look like very, very interesting portraits. They will be slightly warped, but the features will make them look like they are very realistic and yet they won't be a person that you might be able to recognize. The face will look distorted, but in that there will be some curiosity.
The second phase, did you do the eyes first? I wasn't watching that. But
The
yes.
nose. I did.
Nose, na? I was thinking of putting the nose in because it seems like the main feature.
Yes, it is. And it also becomes a support for those amazing glasses. So, usually in both design as well as art. Ah, wow, let's see, Bhavani. Very nice. Looking really cool. Wow. Very nice.
Very nice, Bhavani. Just got a glimpse of it. Yes. You see?
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Let
no.
me pin it.
Very alike.
Very
Yes.
good, yeah.
Very nice. So in both art and design, there is one, and I suppose even literature, poetry, there is one factor in which we can do this exercise where you can build metaphors. So when you're looking at a face, you will see emotion, you will see age. Depending upon how it is decorated, it might also speak of maybe a festival. So these are all visual metaphors for something or the other. And in when we move towards fine art, now this is not just to make fine art, but also to learn to appreciate it. In fine art, the painting is created in such a way that it is able to create a slice of uh, a current situation for the rest of the world, for the rest of the generations, for as long as it lasts. Especially since the Renaissance, the kinds of art that have been made have, and then even more so in the modern era. So when paintings are made these days, it's not just about putting something pretty on the wall. Now, this is the fine art work that I'm speaking about, and also the figurative fine art, because since we're doing portraits, it makes sense to think about that. So those portraits are created with some kind of statement that the artist wants to make. If we look at certain portraits in history, we will come across a lot of Impressionist portraits. Just before that, we will come across portraits by Rembrandt. He made quite a few of his own self-portraits. Then coming further, if you come into the pop art age, you will see portraits of like the Andy Warhol portraits, those silk screen portraits of Marilyn Monroe, and I think he made some Elizabeth Taylor also or something. So there's lots of those kinds of portraits. So they're all still portraits, yet each of them says something different about society at that time or about the culture at that time. The reason why they're also preserved and kept in museums is to allow for a subject for debate, for contemplation, for discussion, and sometimes just for pure appreciation of the past. So when you go and look at the Impressionist paintings, and then you look at the pre or even the Renaissance kind of, which is very few now, you don't see too many of those. When you look at those paintings and those portraits, you will you're not just looking at painting that is made by a master, but you're looking at a painting that has been made by uh, pigments that are ground by hand, by someone who had to trade a whole lot in order to get the right chemicals in order to make the painting. And therefore, then its value also becomes much more than someone who's just gone to a stationery store and picked up their oils or acrylics and made an abstract painting. Apart from also the time that it has been preserved in. When you look at the paintings of the Impressionists, by that time they were making only or more paintings of people who were relevant to real life. So just before Impressionism, there was a movement called Realism, and it's often thought, and I'm guilty of that as well, of making people look real. It's not that. That is realistic. Realism is a movement which was about depicting reality. So you don't necessarily make paintings about gods and goddesses, and which is what was done during the Roman age and came straight down right up to the Dark Ages, or biblical pictures only. But here you have pictures of peasants, of people who are just sitting for a meal in a very modest home. And that's why those topics are often seen as, why would we want to see reality when what we are here for is actually an escape from reality. So in a sense, you can see how like Hindi movies are often seen as, please don't show us real stuff. The blockbusters are not about reality. They're about Sridevi dancing in the Alps in a yellow sari. I mean, that I don't know how that makes sense, but blockbuster. So each of those also becomes like a montage of what history was at that time. Then when you come to say an Andy Warhol, where he has not painted the Marilyn Monroe piece, it is just her picture, which is silk screened across a whole canvas. So you have, it starts from the bottom where you just see her head. It's an incomplete picture, a row of incomplete heads. Then you have her head, and then it goes right to the top, but again, it's incomplete, and you see the bottom of her face. So it's, in this case, he's not really trying to glorify Marilyn Monroe by making so many portraits of hers. This picture is meant to ridicule and also spotlight the rampant commercialization of absolutely everything and everyone. So the fact that you can take one face and then just put that face in so many ways and then it would still work is a commentary on how hollow everything has become. That there is very little value given to the sanctity of a person, of their identity, and they will present an identity which can be multiplied and, I guess, just commercialized. So whenever you see a painting next, especially in the fine art realm, if you can read a little bit about the artist and what they are trying to say with their painting, it gives you something to, it's like a full 3-course meal. It's not just a soup and then get out. It gives you something to chew on, literally. You don't have to agree with it, but it at least gives you certain metaphors with which you can gauge how the painting has been made. Very often, there are paintings that you will come across that literally on the face of it, you want to dismiss them. But then when you start reading about the artist, about the time that they were made and who the person was, what they're trying to depict, then it starts making so much more sense. The nuances become so much more relatable, that it's no longer about, I like these colors and that's why I like the painting. So I encourage you to do this exercise as and when possible. So in order to do this best is, first, yes, your instant reaction is going to be, I like it or I don't like it. So don't resist that. Just say, okay, I like it. This looks interesting. And then read up on it and then see what you feel about it. If you can make a chronological note of it, that will help also. Sometimes they give a technical analysis of the painting. So in that case, like Neeta's question was about color and composition, those points are also highlighted. There is extensive analysis about the Mona Lisa. So you can read about all of the paintings from that era, especially regarding color and composition. And you just keep that data like active. It's not meant to be a formula for anyone. This is the exploration that this artist did, great. And this is how it worked, this is the manifestation. So the more you expose yourself, the more you will start collecting all these data points and your map will start filling up. And then at any point you can choose to take one direction or another whenever you are confronted with a project. Yes.
Aditi, first, let me show you this, and then I have to tell you about maps.
Okay. Oh, nice. This one's looking good.
Much better, no? Than the
Yes, yes, much better.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please teach us how to draw those lovely illustrated maps.
Okay. All right. I thought you were going to tell us something interesting about maps.
No, you said maps, and then I remember that's another thing that I wanted to learn.
I'm just going to start writing all these things down in the back. Because
Night
now,
scenes, maps.
yeah, because I have to make the schedule for next year soon. So this will help me. because we've done a lot of stuff and I have done lots of stuff in different batches. So I can write your topics and make a curriculum for you guys separately. So let me know if
I'm
there's
like talking about illustrated maps. I mean, the normal map making though is okay.
yeah,
But like,
illustrated.
you know, like the ones that you get in the old books or Tolkien or whatever, with all the monsters and the ships and the this and that, but mainly the
Yeah,
outline and the coloring. All the rest, though, we can always bung in. But
definitely. This is
nice.
I love math.
Somebody had they had poured rice onto a page in raw rice in little bits and then outlined that
Oh,
and made these gorgeous shapes and then took them off, and that was the map foundation of the islands, and just a make believe thing. It was so
lovely
interesting to
idea.
see. What a
Very
lovely
nice.
idea.
Yeah, cool. Let's try and do that. Okay, so any questions? Any comments? Okay. So please share your pictures on the group so we can all enjoy them. And if you're okay with it, I'd like to share them on Instagram also at some point. So usually,
Especially ugly ones. I don't know what kind of likes you're going to get with that.
oh, it's nothing. It's not for the likes.
I
It is
know I'm
to
just you
just
could have said such ugly. Says, is that what she teaches?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
that might encourage some people also. Like, yeah, this I
Yes.
can do.
Me, I certainly would encourage me to take any amount of classes.
Yeah. All right. So great. So I'll see you all next week. In case I forget, next week we are going to do a little bit of that color theory thing. Yeah. So just a few exercises and color combinations and things like that. All
I
right.
saw a box of colors being sold by some very expensive company. They keep coming up. And they
Mm,
were selling a box with these little cute cakes, you
mm,
know, individual, I think,
mm,
Japanese. And there was only a palette of night shades. I said,
mm.
"Huh." I mean, to sell a box of only shades which you do, you know, painting at of night scenes.
Wow.
So strange.
I have to do some research. I've never painted a night scene myself. So in watercolor, it's a little difficult, but I'll definitely do some research.
I have a little one in the bedroom of Millen's, which is the flower shop opposite his old place at
Hmm.
night. At night.
Oh, how
It's,
interesting.
I'll send a picture of it. I'll take
That'll
a
be nice.
photograph
Yeah.
and I'll send a picture of it.
All right. Okay. Chalo. See you all. Bye.
Bye bye.
You.
Thank you, Aditi. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.